I built a prison and I called it a business. Yes, I said that correctly. It was 4 p.m. I still had payroll due. I still had the schedule to do the next day. I still had new hires to onboard because we were a growing business. And one of my delivery drivers sadly called to say that he rolled his ankle badly and he wasn't able to finish his route. As I sat there and wondered, what am I gonna do? I picked up the phone. I called my wife and I said, hey, I need you to take this driver to the hospital so that we can get our team member taken care of. And then it hit me that I still needed to deliver all the packages that were in that van. All my other drivers were out and swamped with their own packages that they needed to deliver. My wife picked up the driver, took him to the hospital. I hopped in his van and I got to the first stop. I looked in the back of my van and I couldn't believe how many packages there was left. I needed to submit payroll, like I said before. I needed to post a schedule and I needed to get all this other stuff done that was quite frankly more important at the moment than delivering these packages. As my wife called me to say that she dropped him off and everything went well, I let her know that I needed to submit payroll. And if I didn't submit payroll by today, then it wouldn't get there by Friday. And as many as you know, if you don't submit payroll at the right time and your people don't get paid, you're out of a business. That's a business killer for sure. I remember perfectly sitting at that stop. I was exhausted, I was frustrated, I was done. I didn't want to do this anymore. And I thought to myself, I built a business, I'm making money. Why am I not happy? Why am I not successful? Why am I not living this dream that everyone says a business owner lives? At the time, I wasn't running a small side hustle. I was running a real logistics operation, but I wasn't happy. People depended on it. It was doing millions in revenues and I had something. I knew I did, but I had to figure out how to take this business, which was a prison at the moment, and turn it into a real business with me being the owner, not a worker. My first mistake, how I built this prison, was thinking I had to do everything by myself. And honestly, I wore this like a badge of honor. See, my father grew up not as a business owner, but eventually in life, he opened bars, sports bars, right? And I saw that man every day of my life work from sunup to sundown bartending. He had a little bit of help, but he was the one that had to do everything. And that's how I thought I needed to run this logistics operation. The problem is, the difference between running a logistics operation that's doing millions in revenue and running a bar is two totally different things. Yes, there's similarities, but when you have a bigger operation with multiple employees, multiple vehicles, and multiple stuff to get done every single day, you can't do it on your own. The other side of that is, I thought that's what real leaders did. That's what business owners did, was they built their business from scratch and they stayed in it. And the only person that knew best and knew their business the best was the business owner and the guy that started that. That mindset and that pride that I had, thinking that I had to control everything, being an egotistical maniac, that's insane. No business owner should ever have to do everything, and no business owner should think that they are the only ones that have all the answers. You may have all the answers, but there are other people who can do things just as good as you can. That pride and that mindset was the first bar on the prison that I didn't know I was even building, that I was trapping myself in. That day that I almost missed payroll, that I had to deliver packages by myself instead of working on my business, and how fragile everything was, that taught me that the business owned me. I was not a business owner, I was a business operator. There was another day that led to my breaking point, and where I missed my little girl's birthday. See, she had a birthday party and I was planning on being there, but one of my vehicles ended up breaking down on the road. I didn't have any help, no one else to call. I was dispatch, I was fleet manager, I was everything. So of course, the driver called me. Naturally, as a good business owner, I had to go out and help them solve their problems. By the time I got home from that incident, the party was over. Everybody was gone, my little girl ate the cake, everything was going good for her. But I looked at my life and I said, what is the point of even owning a business if I can't create my own schedule and I can't make my little girl's birthday once a year? Something was terribly wrong in that moment and I needed to figure out what it was. The last dark moment that I had that I wanted to share with you is one day I showed up, everything was going as planned. One of my drivers looked at their schedule, looked at their routes, their manifest, everything that was going on that day. She handed me the pouch and she said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. It's just too much work. As a new business owner, I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. Everybody was looking at me. I said, okay, thanks, have a good day. And then the anxiety rushed over me. I had no idea who I was gonna call, didn't have a backup plan. I was a new business owner just trying to figure everything out. Once again, the business was running me instead of me running the business. And all of those moments combined, especially missing my little girl's birthday, that's when I said to myself, no more, never again. I'm figuring this out. Here's what I finally understood, and clearly. I wasn't building a business, I was building a cage. You see, you're either a business owner or you're a business operator. There are two totally different things. The biggest difference is operators stay trapped in their business and owners build systems. This is the big difference. An owner has everything documented. They have SOPs, they have systems, they have processes. If their employees have questions, they can look up, they can come to you. You have different levels of management, right? You have backup plans, A, B, C, D. If someone calls off now, it isn't me or my wife hopping in the van. It could be an assistant dispatcher, it could be a dispatcher, it could be a manager, it could be someone that took VTO that day, it could be somebody that wants to come in for extra overtime. There are a million different ways that we have to cover those routes now because I built systems and I've built processes. And one of the things that I want to say is a lot of you out there are saying to yourself, if I'm a business owner and I'm just sitting back collecting a paycheck, instead of being a business operator and actually being there with my team, I won't be respected. That's what I thought too. And here's the thing. As a business owner, you have your own things that you need to do. You need to check payroll. You need to post payroll. You need to make sure that your managers are performing. You need to have KPIs. You need to make sure your systems and processes are in place. You need to make sure your fleet manager is doing a good job, right? There's a million other things that you do as a business owner, but working in the business is not one of them. You need to be the leader and you need to be the one working on the business so that it can get better. It's not your managers and your employees and your drivers' job to come up with new innovative ways to make things better. They're not thinking about the business, they're thinking about the tasks that you have given them and they need to complete those tasks. Once I made that shift, I want you to know that things instantly didn't get better. It wasn't like a light switch to where all of a sudden I had this aha moment and things got better. No, but I could clearly see that they were moving in the right direction. I hired my first dispatcher, hired my first manager, got positions in place, and everything I didn't know how to do everything right off the bat, and that's okay if you don't either. If you're transitioning from an operator to an owner, you're not gonna know how to create SOPs, you're not gonna know how to put your brain on a piece of paper so that your manager can follow your lead and follow your steps of what you were doing when you were an operator. This takes time. Be patient with yourself and understand that step by step, line by line, you will build this empire that runs without you. That's the goal. Now, there's three things that I want to share with you that are very important in transition over from an operator to an owner. Step number one is creating SOPs. If you don't know what SOPs stand for, it stands for Standard Operating Procedure. This is how your employees know what to do when you're not there. If someone rolls their ankle, if a van gets stuck in the snow, if a van breaks down, if someone has an emergency, everything, and I mean everything that you look at, that you think about, that you do, that has to do with your business, that involves you actually going to do something, someone else needs to know how to do that. Now, there's two ways that you could do that. Once the problem comes up, you could have someone call you and text you every single second of the day, but who wants that? Why don't we create an SOP, put it in a system, they pull it up, read exactly step by step that you wrote what they should do, and that's how they get it done. The first SOP you create, it'll have holes in it. And a quick tip that I have for you is that once you create your first SOP, take one of your managers or your employees and have them try to do what you wrote out step by step to see if there's any gaps. I guarantee there's gonna be a few, and that's okay. But then you just add those in, and then step by step, perfectly, you have written down, documented what they should do, when they should do it, how they should do it. The second thing that I wanna give a tip to is hiring a manager within your system. A lot of people have a ton of employees, right? If you're building this business, and you're looking for someone who's outside of your business to come in and help everything out. I wholeheartedly disagree with this. Some businesses, yes, that works. Blue collar businesses like logistics, brick and mortars, things like that, where a group of people know each other, if you promote somebody from within, there is absolute respect that will be given to that person once you promote them and wholeheartedly put them in that position and dub them as they're worthy to be a manager in that position. They have to be able to perform, they have to be able to show up. So make sure you pick the right person. And that's a whole video that I can make in itself, is how to pick your first manager and how to pick the person that everybody's going to respect. But If you bring someone in from the outside that they never know, they've never met, the person hasn't seen the business, hasn't worked in the business, hasn't done the job that the employees are doing, respect will be really hard to come by. On the flip side, if you pick somebody that has, in my case, delivered routes, picked up packages, helped people fix vans, change tires, they've already seen that person in action. Then all of a sudden they become a manager and you're like, you know what? Yeah, that guy does a good job. I respect him. Your operations will run so much smoother if respect is mutual between your employees and your new manager. The third tip that I want to give you is I built clear rules around my business. What needed me and what didn't need me. You need to be able to write out on a piece of paper what requires my time and what doesn't require my time. Delivering packages is what we do, but there are so many other things that keeps the business running. My employees need to be happy. The culture needs to be well thought out and a place where they want to work. Payroll needs to be done every other week so they can get paid. That's why most people have a job, right? There are a million things that you need to do as a business owner. If it does not absolutely require your attention, make an SOP for it. Have a manager do it. Get somebody else and empower them. And that's another tip that I want to give you. Make sure that when you choose somebody with the management, backing up a little bit to number 2 here, I forgot this, but I want to say it. Make sure when you choose your manager, you empower them. I chose managers at first and I chose dispatchers, but I wasn't empowering them. I wasn't saying, hey, this is your domain and this is what you need to do to own it. I was still micromanaging them. I was on the right path, but I was still micromanaging them, and that was absolutely cutting their wings so they couldn't fly. We need to make sure we're empowering them. They need to know exactly what their duties are, what the rules, where you are, where you aren't, all of that. Today, the business runs without everything flowing through me. I don't need to know every single detail of what is going on. I still lead, I still show up, and I 100% still care about all of my employees, especially my managers, and everyone that is working with me on the business. But I'm not trapped in this cage or this prison by my business. If you've ever felt trapped in your own business, just know that you're not alone. I hope this video helps you, and I hope you can implement some of these steps in order to break free as an operator and into an owner.